Hi everyone. So today we're going to talk about the celestial sphere. So the celestial sphere is an imaginary sphere that astronomers create around a location, or in this case, around a person, to just determine the how the different stars and planets appear to us in the sky, and just to map it like how we do with longitude and latitude lines on a map. So it helps astronomers figure out the relative positions of different objects or celestial objects in space from our point of view. Remember, zenith is right above you, and the horizon is directly in front of you. So, based on that, your zenith right above you and everywhere around you that's directly in front of you, you can map where the stars and planets appear in the sky. So, this will help you also, or astronomers also map how the Earth's highest point in the sky in New York is actually on June 21st, and its lowest point in the sky is on December 21st. It's somewhere in between on March and September 21st, and it can actually map that entire path of the sun. And that's exactly what I'll be showing you today. So, on in the summer, on June 21st in New York, the sun actually rises. So, if this is you, and this is towards the north, this is towards the south, this is your east, this is your west, then you'll see the sun starting to rise in the northeast part of Earth, okay, towards the northeast. And you'll see that as it rises in the sky, its highest point is actually towards your south. And then, as it sets in the sky, it will actually set in your northwest. Why? Because remember, when during the summertime the earth is tilted towards the sun, right? So as the earth is tilting towards the sun, the northern hemisphere is experiencing more direct sunlight towards 23.5-degree north. So that's why you'll start to see when the sun rises and sun sets, you'll see it more towards the north side in the summertime. But for specifically new in New York, because of the way the earth tilts, it's a bit complex. At its highest point is actually at the south, and that's something you need to memorize. So sun rises in the northeast, highest point is at the south, sets in the northwest in the summertime. So what happens in fall and spring? Well, remember in fall and spring for us, or in general, the sun's greatest, most direct light actually hits the equator, right? Not northern 23.5-degree north or 23.5 degrees south. So since it's at the equator, the most direct sunlight, we're seeing sunrise directly at east, not northeast, north, southeast, exactly at east. And once again, since we're in New York, the highest point is towards the south, and then the sun sets exactly at west, not northwest or southwest, exactly at west. And this is what happens on around September 23rd and March 21st, first day of fall and spring. Now, remember in the winter time, so actually let me show you this first. So the sun rises towards the east side, highest point is at the south, sets towards the west on fall and spring. Now in the winter time, remember the earth is tilted away from the sun, and the sun's direct rays are actually hitting 23.5 degrees south, right? So the southern hemisphere is seeing direct sunlight. So from your point of view in New York, you're actually going to see the sun rise towards the southeast this time. And once again, since we're in New York, the highest point will be towards the south, and then the sun sets towards the southwest. Okay, so this is kind of an overview of every all the paths of different seasons, and you actually have this in your note packet as well. And you should memorize the sunrise and sunset compass directions, as well as the highest point of the sun in each season. So if we look at it together, we see that in the winter, the sun rises in the southeast, highest point is towards the south, sets in the southwest. In the fall and spring, the sun rises in the east, highest point is in the south, sets in the west. And then in the summertime, the sun rises in the northeast, highest point is in the south, sets in the northwest. Sometimes we say due west, due east, due northeast, due northwest. It means the same thing, towards the northeast or west. And this is an overview of what it looks like. Notice that at noon, the highest point of the sun, you're seeing the sun towards the south part. But in the summertime, the sun rises towards the northeast, sets in the northwest. In the September or March 21st or 23rd, the sun rises in the east, sets in the west. And then in December 21st, the sun rises in the south of east, sets in the south of west. So, but regardless, you're having the highest point of the sun in the south in New York. Let's write this down. So the highest point of the sun is on June 21st. It's at noon, but remember, it's at noon when it's at its highest point, it's towards the south side. And what about the other months when it's not the very first day of summer or the very first day of winter? What about in between? It's kind of like this. So, say right after December 21st, you have January, right? The sun starts to get a little higher, the path starts to get a little more towards the north. And then on March 21st, you're rising at east. Highest point of the sun is still towards the south, and you're setting around at west, right? And then in April, your sunrise and sunset is happening more towards the north side, still rising at east towards the east and setting towards the west, and the highest point is still towards the south. And finally, by the time we're getting close to the summer around June, your sun is still towards the south side at its highest point, but it's rising more towards the northeast and setting towards the northwest. So closer to December or winter, you're rising and setting closer to the southern area, and in the summer, you're rising closer to the northern area. One more interesting thing to note is that if we're looking at the seasons, right? June 21st, first day of summer, March 21st and September 21st, first day of spring and fall, and December 21st, first day of winter, we see that the path of the sun shifts by 23.5 degrees with each season. Notice that, remember, the sun's most direct rays on March and September 21st is on the equator, right? So we're looking using this as a reference. On June 21st, my sun's direct rays are on 23.5-degree north because the earth is tilting 23.5-degree north towards the sun. So my sun will also be a little higher by 23.5 degrees in the sky. That's why the sun looks so high in the sky, and that's why on in the summertime you have such a long path for the sun. It spends the sun is in the sky for longer, and that's why it's warmer too, and you have longer days. But in December 21st, compared to here on March and September 21st, remember our direct sun rays are at the equator, but on December, my Earth tilts 23.5 degrees away from the sun. So my sun in December also is a little lower in the sky by 23.5 degrees. So just remember, with each season, my sun's path shifts by 23.5 degrees in the sky. And you can look at this for reference as well. In the next video, we're going to talk about shadows.